wonderful, exquisite relaxation here on ZBrush Live with Spicer McLeroy, your spicy sensei. We hope you had a great weekend. We hope you were warm this week if you were in Central America. And the Dojo salutes you all for surviving. Welcome, welcome. First disciple is here. Welcome, welcome to the stream. All right, let's get this show started. Welcome to the ZBHO Dojo. My name is Spicer, your spicy sensei, if you will. And today on the stream, we're going to be going through a critique. And you remember last week we were talking about achieving the goals, right? So I better have a bunch of ZTLs, I better have a bunch of images, a bunch of scripts, a bunch of sketches to look over on the stream today of your own characters, of your own work. But before we get started, kicking ass, taking names, and turning on that autosave, let us give thanks and praise to the lords and gods of Sijia. Starting first with Frank Frazetta, the All-Father. Thank you, Lord Frank Frazetta. Next, we have St. Joseph of Crete. And next, St. Paul. Look up here, look up here, look up here, look up here. Good morning. And then Narayan, King of Slian. And finally, Simon Lee, Spider. Thank you for your education, your inspiration, and your overall badassness. The Dojo salutes you. How's it going, everybody? How is it going over there in kick-ass land? I hope you're doing good. I know I'm doing good. I mean, obviously I'm looking good. Feeling a whole lot better. Sickness is... I got like 3% of it left. 3% of it left. So, but it's gonna get better. It's definitely gonna get better. Alrighty. And for some reason, chat is not showing up in the chat. It's saying 0 people are watching, and I know that's ridiculous. I know that's ridiculous. So what's going on? Why isn't chat working? How am I supposed to converse with my chat? I don't know how we're gonna do it today, people. But let's get over into the dojo and let's get to work. All right, see. Oh, D-Zinc in the house. Oscar Bareles. What's going on? Thank you for being here. Hello. I'm gonna have to read it off of the chat. I'm gonna have to read it off of the stream, so you know it's gonna be kind of bad. All right. Need a new prescription is all I'm gonna say. But anyway, so we're gonna get into our critique. There it is, finally. Emmanuel Obidi. Welcome. Alrighty. Dojo is here. Ashraf Bolson, I appreciate you. So this is a fellow Dojo warrior. They're every Monday night doing the sculpt off, doing the theme, doing it proud. Darius, what's up? Where do we send our stuff? you can send it to Spicer.McLeroy at xmdacademy.com. Send it there. Okay. Hey, baby. So, yeah, you can send it there, and I will have a look at it. We'll take a look at it. All right. So this one is from Batman Pop-Tart, and we're gonna take a look at it. All right. So I always like to look at him for the first time live with you. All right. Get an initial honest impression. You know what I'm saying? All right. Annabelle Chuda, ZBrush and Maya is the best. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. ZBrush and any other program is the best. ZBrush first, anything else second. Darius Shimarani, cheers. Welcome, comics legend. What martial arts have you studied, and do you think it has helped you with your sculpting? I've studied Taekwondo, Kung Fu, and what is it called? Wing Chun. So I studied all those. It's definitely brought a lot of confidence to, you know, like if I intend my body to do something, I know it will do what I want it to do. You know, if I want to throw a punch or whatever. So I carried that over to my sculpting, and I've been like, you know, well, you know, I'm pretty confident, you know, with the intent of my body. So I'm just going to release that worry and release all of that and just sculpt freely and try to get into flow quicker. Mike Morgan in the house. A wonderful, wonderful Dojo sponsor. All right, everybody go check out Mike Morgan. Everybody put Mike Morgan, if you can let them know where they can find you. You can get yourself a nice little glove like this. You can look sexy just like me. All right. I should show you my Batman bust. It's the best Batman to Keaton. Nice. Nice. I like the confidence level. I like it. Alrighty. So let's take a look at Batman Pop-Tart's Thor, and let's go over some anatomy and see what we can do to help him. Anyone else, please send your work or your links to Spicer McLeroy at xmdacademy.com. All right. And we'll take a look at it. We'll go through one or two today. And, you know, if it feels good, we'll do more. It just depends on y'all, you know. You're going to make me wait? Huh, chat? You going to make me wait? Cayenne PK, what's up? How are you? How are you today? I don't have anything in my email. I'm just saying that. I'm gonna say that right now. I'm gonna say it out loud on stream. I don't have anything right now. Okay. So, alrighty. Okay. So, let's start from the head and work our way down. You got some really good shapes here. Let me turn down the music a little bit more so I can hear myself think. I mean, Michael Keaton is the best Batman. Maker JP. So let's take a look. So I'm gonna work on the left side mostly, because the pose isn't too isn't so dynamic that the same problems won't, or the same solutions and problems won't be on both sides. Okay, so first, the widest part of your face, all right, not of the head, but of your face, is the zygomatic arch. Okay, so the reason that is because you have your temporalis right here, so all of this muscle, everything it uses to You have your master, and then you have your temporalis that both contribute to opening and closing your mouth, right? So emaciate food, right? So your temporalis needs to fit down into the hole of the skeleton. So let's take a look at the skeleton. Male and female, it's the same, have the same amount of ribs. There's if there's any differences, any major differences, then we'll talk about it. But let's take a look at the skull. So we have our temporalis in here. Let's see. We have our temporalis attached right here, and it's feeding into this little crevasse here, and then attaching to this little hook. It's called the coracoid process right here. Okay, so it's attaching there, and then you have your master coming off of your malar eminence and going down and around here, right? And then filling up this area and leaving your TMJ or your temporal mandibular joint kind of slightly exposed, but you have another muscle kind of covering that out, right? So we need the space here for the temporalis to feed into it. So this is going to be the widest part of your face, and this is going to be the widest part of your head, the back third, right? So I see a lot of skulls like almost squared off at the back. The widest part is going to be the third, right? Is everybody paying attention? Rizwan Mation. Hi. So, yeah, so we want to make sure we consider that whenever we are sculpting faces, okay? So now we take a look at yours, and we can see that it's probably the thinnest part of the head, right? You see how it's going in a whole lot? So we need to fix that. All right. Y'all better be paying attention, because I don't want to see no silence. I don't want to see no silence in that chat today, because we're going through a lot of anatomy today, all right? Stuff that people pay a whole lot of money for, okay? Right? All right, so we are going to widen that zygomatic arch, and it's automatically giving him a little bit more masculinity, right? So here we've got that. Your orbit, all right, so your orbit needs a little bit more, you definitely need to solidify your eyelids. Well, I guess you have eyelids here separately. Yeah, I've never done that. So let's talk about the orbit. So we're going to need a little bit more of the orbit, and then you can have this hang down here, no problem, but we're kind of missing the orbit all around. So here you can see that the bags of your eyes are kind of coming out. I'm not sure, this doesn't seem like old man Thor, so I'm just gonna assume he's, you know, 30ish, early 30ish, right? So we need to make sure that whenever we have these eyelids that they're going down, and then the orbit is there, right? So then we've got the orbit, we need to carry it over here, okay? So we have adjacent symmetry on a certain part of the orbit. So we have our, I'm gonna dig this in. Is this Dynamesh? I'm at Dynamesh. Let's see. No, let's go 512. Dynamesh. No, let's go 960. And Dynamesh. No. Okay, close enough. So now what were we doing? Oh yeah, adjacent symmetry. So we need to get our infraorbital furrow. So that's this bone right here. So if you feel where these tendons are, these canthal tendons right here, and you feel where they attach and you go down and you start feeling that, that's your infraorbital furrow. And it's very prominent on pretty much everybody. So we want to make sure that we have that basically, you know, fleshy landmark, or it is a bony landmark, because it is the, you know, the furrow of the skull. So after that, let's bring this back, smooth that out. So we have adjacent symmetry. Whatever curve is right here is going to be the same curve right here. Okay, so we need to bring that, and we can bring this together. Okay, so then after that, what we're doing is we're just connecting. Okay, so your infraorbital furrow is going to be out here, and then your superior margin of your orbit is going to be going down into there. Okay, so there's going to be a split here, and then your canthal tendon should be attaching right around here. Okay, so and we want to make sure that this orbit is it's kind of like a square that's been tilted a little bit and softened on all the edges a lot. You know, it's like taking a regular cube and a Q cube and just dividing it a few times, and you get really, really soft edges, right? So we want to make sure that we have that here as well. Okay, so right there, we've already got a whole lot of depth out of the eye. And then, you know, I'm just gonna bring this forward a little bit. Bring it down, something like that. All right, and you have your lacrimal punctum here, but then it's going to, right? So we need to BMT, and we need to make sure that is going to lacrimal punctum, and then it's going to go down. So generally, this is either even or the highest point of the eye. So you have that hit, and then right here is the lacrimal punctum in the bottom. So basically, your tears come out here, and then they drain down here. Okay, and then we want to make sure that these are equal distance around the eye as well. We don't want to have sudden bursts of thickness. All right. Rizwanmation, I can do crude animations. Baby Geckos, hi Spicer, will you continue on Viego or did you quit? Wow, loaded question, Baby Geckos. I didn't quit, I got bored. Okay, here's the difference. It didn't beat me. It was just boring. Okay, I don't know who the character is, I don't play the game. It looked kind of cool. Something to work on until I found something else to work on. Now I got something else to work on. So now we're going to work on that. So we might come back to it later. But who knows? Loaded question, Baby Geckos. Loaded question. Swiss Daffy! Alrighty. So, Satana's Corp Tit. Man, you the goat. Thanks, brother. Alrighty, so we've got that set. Now that looks a little bit better, right? It's a little bit, and then we can move this eye around and kind of fix that as well. So something around there. Okay, so now we've got depth. We've got the eyelids by themselves as well, and then you know, you can just inflate that area. But now we have a little bit more of an orbit, and this canthal tendon should be attaching right about there, right? So still do have quite a bit of room to mess around all up in there. Okay. Carbon 444. Ashraf Bolson, facial anatomy is best. Swiss Daffy, I need to learn more. Everybody does, I do. All right. So next, this is something a lot of people do. They mix a lot of forms in here together instead of having a little bit more definition. Okay, so again, we need to know where this infraorbital furrow is, because from there we're going to have a pretty major bit of facial anatomy, which is the nasal labial fold. Okay, so right here, what we need to do, we need to, you know, kiss the edge of the nose right there, and then come back and go around the nodes of the mouth. All right, so everything that has to deal with articulating the corners of your mouth, you got little nodes, and you got your zygomatic major, you got your buccinator, and you got your depressor. So it allows us to smile, to bring the edges up, and to bring the edges down. Okay, so you need to make sure that you always have a node of the mouth. I see a lot of lips just end, and it needs to end into the nodes of the mouth. Okay. ZBrush Princess, what's going on? Darius Shimarani, our image is okay. I'm a noob here. I got tons of subtools. Just send me the body. Send me the body and the head. And the eyes. And the eyebrows. And the hair. All right? And delete everything else. And just send me that. Okay? All right. All right. So, let's go over here. Okay, so we have our nasal labial fold that's coming through, and this is a little bit, there's just a big cavern in here, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna inflate this together, and then we're going to re-dynamesh that. Okay, just so we don't have that going so far back. Thanks, ZBrush Princess. Appreciate you. All right, so we've got the nasal labial fold coming around, right? We've got the chin razor. So whenever your chin's all quibbling, all right? So we've got a little bit there. We've also got, you know, depending on this guy, I would assume he doesn't have a lot of, you know, he doesn't have, you know, sexy puffy cheeks like me. It's probably a little bit more bone here. So I'm just kind of hinting at the malar right here, and then always remembering that the zygomatic is going towards the node of the mouth, right? So the next thing that we need to do, and always do 100% of the time, is make sure that this this malar, you can see how it's ending up here. You know, it's stopping here and then it's becoming the zygomatic major. What it needs to do is it needs to go down to the bottom of the nose, right? So if you feel the bottom of your nose and you bring it across, that's going to be the bottom of your zygomatic and the bottom of your malar right here. So, and that's going to be 100% of the time. 100! All right, so we got to bring this down. Bring it down, bring it down, bring it down. Okay. And then we need to also bring the top of the zygomatic down because it needs to line up with the bottom of the orbit 100% of the time. Okay. Is it useful to study anatomy from medical references? Because I noticed some artists mainly focus on knowing the forms well, but you seem to know more about the actual function of each muscle. Both. That way, whenever you see someone doing something, you're like, okay, that muscle is being activated, that's being activated, and these are relaxed. And then you're able to bring more life to your sculpture as opposed to, you know, everything's flexed, right? Kimara. Alrighty, so we've got the nasal labial fold, we've got that, and so now whenever we bring this angle here, I'm just gonna echo shade a little bit. Whenever we bring this angle here, it's not coming from such a high place, right? It's coming from the same level as the bottom of your nose. Okay. So next, your masseter is going this way, and what it's doing is it needs to go that way. Okay, so you're gonna have an egg on the side right here, and then you're just going to neutralize the form up into the zygomatic. All right, so Generally, we'll see more of the superior edge of the zygomatic because there's no muscle attaching to the top edge of it. The temporalis is just going down, right? But the master actually attaches to the bottom of the zygomatic and ends at the malar eminence. So that's another reason that you want to make sure that you have all these set up, because you don't want to have these super long facial muscles that you're gonna have to compete with later on, right? So we've got that right there. Okay. So now we've got an even stronger looking jaw right here. Stronger looking jaw. And then you want to make sure, like all down here, unless they're aged, then you'll have some skin hanging down right around here, right underneath the nasolabial fold. But other than that, it's pretty much just skin and bone here. You can feel it yourself. That's just skin and bone. Right here is where the master is, very end of the master. But there's not a lot going on until we get to the mental eminence. So it's pretty much just skin and bone right here. Skin and bone, skin and bone, skin and bone. Okay. So we want to make sure that this is very, very straight. Okay. We don't want to have any curves in there. Oh ho. How do I send you a pic? Instagram DM. What? Karma444, the gym helps. Matt K3, I just peed a little. Baby geckos, you are really entertaining and informative. Thanks for the hard effort. Damn right. At least someone in here recognizes that. Loaded question. You threw a loaded question at me earlier, but you just redeemed yourself, baby geckos. You just brought yourself back into the graces of the dojo. Okay. LVO Eternal, hello Spicer, how are you? Fantastic, I hope so. I am doing extremely well. Mela Eminence is a Sith Lord. What's up, Sumerian King? We are going to be announcing the scholarship very soon. So is this what you sculpted, Justin? Is that what you want me to look over? Because I don't really have the ZTL to kind of go over. You know what I mean? Alrighty. So we've got that. So now we've got a little bit more. You know, you can see there's just a little bit more information, a little bit more separation of these things. You know, you can see your orbit's pretty much gone. Mine's way more defined over here. Okay. So next, your mouth may be a little bit too wide. So you might want to bring that together. And then also, you can see it's very angular. So I would have it a little bit more dome-ish, right? A little bit more muzzly. All right. And next, I would make sure that your chin's coming out farther than your depressor muscles, or it's going to make him look like he doesn't have a chin. So a little bit more form here. Right there. You can get these, this malar. I mean, there's so many different chins that you can sculpt. So it's really up to you on that. And then trying to kind of fix this mouth so it's not so duck lippy. And let's bring these down. Okay. Alrighty. So we do have a furrowing of the brow here, and it's going to contribute to this angle, but I would like one more angle just right there. Right, because we need the glabella, we need the nasal bone, so we need to have like 3 hits, right? So we need to have the glabella, the nasal bone, and then the alar cartilage. So the alar cartilage here kind of needs to wrap around right there. Okay, and then you need to kind of have like 3 tiers, right? So you have your septal cartilage, then you've got the wing of your nostril, and then that's going down, right? So that way you can have a little bit more. I mean, we're gonna smooth it out, but it's still going to add subtle forms that we need to pay attention to, okay? So your nasalis is pretty much right here, and it's going around, okay? Pretty much, you know, like a slice of pizza. But we want to make sure that it's meeting here, and it's relegated to a very specific area, okay? We don't want it all the way up here, because it's right here. It allows us to articulate the tip of our nose, right? So it's going to be attached to the cartilage right there. Okay. And then that'll make it look a little bit more believable in there. Okay. And trying to think of anything else. And then your brow maybe a little bit more separated from the forehead. So something like that. And then bring in your frontal bone. And just bring that up a little. And then you'll, let's dive that down, bring that up. And then you'll have another form in there instead of it just going down and then going in. Right. Your sternocleido needs to come from, you know, behind your ear. You're going to have your parotid gland in here, which will soften the edge a little bit as it's transitioning to that. And then yours are going to the head of your clavicle, and make sure they're going to the head of your sternum. Right, so right around there. All right. Comics Legend. When will the course be updated with new content, updated content? We got the spawn up in there right now. What are you talking about, Comics Legend? Don't you ever look? IR Sculpts. We're talking weeks. Couple weeks. We gotta launch Esther's class, and then we will announce the scholarship. Alrighty, so we got the face, kind of improved that a little bit more. And let's take a look at the skull. That's fine. Okay, so let's talk about your trap. So your trap is going here and it's ending. It needs to attach right here as well. And it's coming from behind the neck. So it's coming from here and then going down. All right, so boom, 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 boom. You need to have your 7th cervical vertebra. So you have you kind of have it, but you have your scapula ending here, and then your teres major attaching right here. And what it needs to do is it needs to go down and then come back up, because it's pretty much attaching to the acromion process and your humerus right there. So we need to have that right there. And then teres major is going to come and attach from here and then go into your armpit. So yours is ending right here. It needs to end underneath here. So it needs to go around and into your armpit. Okay. And this is also where the lats are coming from as well, right? So where your teres major ends, your lat begins. Okay. And then we need to follow the rib cage. It's a little bit too, the forms aren't really flowing along with the underlying skeleton enough. So we've got this teres major going into here, And this scapula, what I like to do is I like to flatten it out. So get it flat, really flat plane, because that's basically what your scapula is anyway. Okay, and then bring the your posterior deltoid is going to come from there, right? The muscle is going to be here, right there if we want it to. Most of the bulk is going to be here, and then it's just going to, because it's going to become an aponeurosis, so then it's just going to neutralize itself as it goes into the corner of that, right? And then you have that over this nice little flat plane. You can bring in your teres major again, then you can get your infraspinatus, and then your teres minor, and your tricep is going up, and both of the heads are going up into both of the tricep heads here are ending kind of like up here. But what's happening is that this tricep right here is ending on the scapula, right? So we have our teres major, our teres minor, and our inside tricep is going to insert right into there. Okay, so so we need to adjust some of these trajectories a bit. Now your lateral lateral head of, and you want to split this down the middle, right? So you want to have that there, and then this here. Okay, and then you want to have kind of like an egg with a lazy 9 going into your olecranon on the lateral head, your tricep. So we have one head, two heads, that you're going to have a flat plane here that all the muscle kind of flows out from as it's attaching to the scapula, right? So you're going to have a little bit of a flat plane here, and then so let me equichet this a little bit. So you're going to have the medial head, the long head, and then from that same curve, you're going to have this third head, okay? And then this third head is attaching to your funny bone, right? So if you flex, you'll feel that, right? If you flex your tricep, you'll feel it attaching to your funny bone, okay? So we need to kind of get the trajectory of that going, and we need to accentuate our funny bone, right? In terms of this bump here, okay? So this one is a little bit too high, okay? So this trajectory needs to go here. Right around there. You have your elbow is nice. Your olecranon is looking good. And so now you've got 3 heads, right? So this one is a little bit more separation, just because I'm kind of reading the style of the body that you're going for, and we're doing this. All right, so now we've got a little bit more definition. It's not just this big mass. It's got a little bit more believability to it, right? So boom, 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 boom. Okay, aponeurosis should be very asymmetrical, going in and attaching to our olecranon, the very head of it. And so it's not really going to have a dip like that, especially in this position. It's going to neutralize itself to the head of the olecranon. Okay. And so if we have the tricep here, we have the, let's see if you have any other muscles. Okay. So, and then we have the bicep. So let's fix the bicep because it's ending a little bit too short. If he was flexing it like this, then I could understand how short this is, but it needs to go down a little bit more. And think of it as like a sub sandwich. All right, going up and down. And so it's going to be its own thing here, right? If you want me to teach you all this stuff, you can go to xmdacademy.com. xmdacademy.com. All right. And you have the online course, and then you have the mentorship. You know, if you want to level up real quick, take the mentorship. If you got time, you know, take the online course. If you've got the online course and you want to update to the mentorship, you just gotta let us know, and then we will just charge you the difference. We're not gonna charge you full price. Okay. So so now what we need is our brachialis in here. Okay. So your brachialis is the same muscle on the inside as it is on the outside. Okay. Robotecando. Alrighty, so this is going down and it's feeding into there. It's kind of like a pillow for the bicep, right? It's a pillow for all this. This one's gonna be a little bit more geometrical. So the inside's gonna be more like a Nike symbol, right? Boom, boom, kind of like that as it's feeding down in there. Right, so we've got that. And then you can see we've got a peak here. I kind of want to even this out, especially since his arm is straight. And then kind of fix those trajectories. All right, so we have our bicep. We've got our, let's see. We've got our brachialis originating from the very end of our deltoid coming down. And so we've got our tricep, our brachialis, our bicep, and in between all those is going to be your brachialis. Okay. And you want to have kind of like a plane right here as this is going around, just to set it up. I'm not saying from the beginning to the end, but just to set these things up. You want to have a little bit of a consistency in there. Okay. So now on the inside, we've got our brachialis going in here. So what we need to do is fill in this area. So we've got our medial epicondyle of the humerus. And so we kind of need to have our pronator teres, which allows us to flip our radius over, right? So that's coming from this epicondyle. A lot of things are coming from this epicondyle right here, right? So we need to feed this down into there. It's attaching all along your radius here and allowing it to flip over. Cospra. Now the Ruined King bores me. Bores me. Maybe we'll come back to it. But like I said on the last stream, I'm not really going to spend a lot of time working on other people's IPs. I'm going to be working on my own. And I suggest all of you to do the same. Sculpt your own characters. Sculpt your own characters. All right. Okay, so now everything that has to deal with closing your hand is originating from this epicondyle right here. Okay, so we need to have this go down, and it's going down the back of your palm. So it's going down in here and then spreading out to each one of your fingers, right? So that's the trajectory of your flexors, right? So they're going to come around. They're going to go, you're going to have your, this little bone right here is a styloid process of your radius. And so we need to hit that, right? We need to have that here. And then we're going to connect the dots, okay? So basically what's going to happen is we're just going to boom, right? And this is going to be our radius, our ulna furrow, okay? So whatever we elbow people with, this bone is going straight to the radius right here, okay? And so we're going to have our epicondyle of the humerus here again. we're going to have our brachial radialis that goes around and attaches to the inside of our, basically right around here, right? On the outside of our radius. And then from here, we need to kind of dig that in a little bit because you can feel it. You can feel that bone right there, the medial epicondyle or the lateral epicondyle. So that's going to be right here. And then all the extensors are going to go over this ulna furrow in the middle, right? So right there, it's going to go over, and then it's going to go on top and miss this styloid process of the ulna right there. So that's how wide it's going, and then how narrow it's becoming as it goes out to each one of your fingers, right? So everything that has to deal with opening your 4 fingers is originating from here, from this little epicondyle, okay? So we're gonna get that. We're gonna bring this over. We're going to flatten this out. Bring this over. Okay. And then we'll have our abductors for our thumb right there. And then this is all going to feed into here. Okay. Your brachialis. Right into that. Okay. So that's what I would do to kind of fix this arm a little bit more. Right? And still have that bulkiness that you're going for. And then make sure that around the wrist, all along here, it should be quite thin. You know, it's just skin and bone right here. So we don't want to be too thick in this area. It's just not going to get the believability that you're looking for. Right. So you basically want to treat this like a rectangle that's kind of just coming out. And then let's fix these so it's not widest in the middle. It's more on the upper third. Got that. Right. So that's what I would do. Okay, so we can take a look at that arm. We can see a lot of inconsistencies, a lot of things going in a bunch of different directions. And then this one, you just need to block it out more before going into all these details. And I think that will help you out. All right. Let's see. Let's go over the pectoralis. Okay. So this one needs to go down to the 5th rib. Right here, your chest seems really, really short, like almost like a gorilla, where comparing proportions, they have a very small chest and a very long body, right? And that's kind of like what you got going here. But for Thor, I don't really think gorilla. I think, God of physicality, of, like all the muscles are beautiful, proportional, all that stuff. So that's kind of like what I think when I hear Thor. Okay. So your deltoid, let's see, I would have a little bit more boxing out of this clavicle right here, so it opens up so all of our neck muscles and veins can fit. And then after that, it's gonna make that curve and then come around. Okay. But it's not gonna take a dive. It's just gonna curve, and then it's gonna come out straight again, and then you're gonna have your acromion process, right? So now that we have our acromion process here, we're gonna attach our lateral head to this little square. So we're gonna go around here, we're gonna go around there, and we're just gonna connect the trajectories, right? So the back end of that square We're going to attach a head. We're going to make sure this is ending halfway down the humerus, right? So a little bit longer, somewhere around there, roughly. Right, so right around there, and bringing that over and diving into there. Okay. Next, you're going to have a little fascia here, right here, and this is the only part of the clavicle that we should be seeing, right? Because we're going to have our clavicular head of our pectoralis, and then we're going to have our anterior head of our deltoid right here, which is attaching right at the curve of the clavicle and then ending where the acromion process begins. And then we're just going to connect the dots. Bring that down, bring it over. So it's important to know all this anatomy, so I don't need to go online and spend 45 minutes finding reference to set up my character, right? It's usually a lot of what, you know, we're getting our reference and trying to mimic and trying to sculpt is just setting up our character. But if you know the anatomy and you just want to know how big they are and the rules of bony landmarks and originations and insertions, you can go through a character in 3 hours, right? So, and then that way you're way more resourceful as well. You don't need so much reference to just block out a character. You can just do it on your own, right? So something like that, and then kind of having that twist in here, and you're just setting it up, you know, and then you go find some reference of this muscle, you know, being articulated like this, and then you just add in that life, you know. I am not following chat at all today, unfortunately. How many polys? I'm not sure. This isn't my sculpt. I'm not sure. Darius, are you secretly Hannibal? Your knowledge of anatomy is mind-blowing. I'm not sure, Eternal. Not sure. Swiss Daffy, I'm calling it a night here in Namibia. Just asking for your website if anyone has to do online course. Swiss Daffy. You can go to xmdacademy.com, or you can go to shotgunscream.com to follow me. You can also, if you just want to get some anatomy tutorials, you can go to my ArtStation store. See some profile. Let me just go to my account. Store, and then you can go to my store here. You can use Spicy ZBHO for 40% off. There you go. Alrighty, so let's fix this this pec, get a little bit more level, and then let's take a look at it a little bit more. Okay, so you can see how it's diving down really quickly. So I kind of want to fix that. I kind of want a few more shapes in here for the chest, a few more planes going on. Okay, and then also the rib cage a little bit more. Right. So the difference between female rib cages and male rib cages is that males go out at a 90 degree, females generally go out at a 60 degree. Okay. So as long as you have a 90 degree angle for your rib cage, it should read as masculine. Okay. And then your lat needs to come forward before it goes back, right around there. And then insert on the back of your hip, right? The anterior superior iliac spine. And you can see how there's this big hump here. This needs to follow the rib cage, right? So we need to follow the rib cage in this. Okay, and then our teres major is coming out, and then we're going to follow this down, and that's going to become the serratus muscles, right? So the very tip of the scapula on the inferior side, so right here, your teres major is coming off of that, right? And then is creating this form right there, okay? And then your obliques are gonna fill in the rest. So here we need to have our obliques right here. So a little bit more coming off of the 8th rib right here, making this form. And then we need a flat plane for our obliques here, right? So it's going to end in a flat plane right there as we go up into the ribs, okay? So a little bit more. So now we have rib cage, we've got obliques coming in, right? All that good stuff. And then we've got a little bit more information here. So you can see this side, you know, there's a lot of squiggling and squabbling and lots of, you know, lines. And then over here, it's way more simplified. I'd say yours is very, very complicated. And you need to simplify your work a little bit more. And then we need to, so, you know, you can feel the heads of your clavicle. You can see how wide that is. So you can fit like 2 fingers in between the heads of your clavicle. So that's kind of like what we want to have here. You know, if we take 2 of his big old sausage fingers, would we be able to fit them in here, right? So I would say that they need to be spread out a little bit more. And then now what we can address is the sternum. There's not a lot of muscle going over the sternum, right? The sternum is its own thing. And then you just have muscles like compressing next to each other, but they're not really going over the sternum that much. If anything, they're meeting the sternum. So we need to have that. And then we need to, so your pectoralis is coming all the way over here, right? So it's attaching roughly where your deltoid ends, okay? And it's underneath, right? So this is over, your deltoid's over it, and this is all underneath there, okay? So you have 3 heads. You have, this is the reason you need to know where your clavicle is, because this head is attached to the clavicle and ends before we get to the head, right? So your head's always going to be on top. It's not going to, muscle's not going to go over it. That's what I'm trying to say, okay? So you have this here, and then it's going, so that's our first head. And then our second head is our sternal head. And again, another reason to have our sternum very, very solid, okay? And so that's going to go here, and that's going to go and feed into the same area, right? So we're going to go in there, underneath the shoulder. Okay. And then you're going to have your thoracic head. So you're going to have a little tail that comes off and attaches to the 6th rib, and then the rest is just right here. Okay. So that's what I would do to kind of fix the upper torso, or at least not fix it, but clean it up just a little bit. Okay. Right there. And then he looks, you know, a little bit more bulkier, because he is quite wide. I think you want him a little bit more like, you know, a bulky wrestler as opposed to a supermodel type thing. Okay. And then we're going to have our transverse abdominis here going down, and then our abs, which is its own thing separate from the obliques. That's the reason we have this flat plane here. And then we have the aponeurosis, or the sheet, abdominal sheet, that goes over the muscles that go over our organs and kind of hold all this together. So that's what I would do. You might want to lengthen the torso just a little bit because there's not a lot of room for the rib cage to kind of function here. So you might want to extend the torso at the rib cage and lift it up a little bit. So let me show you what I mean. BML. And kind of bring it down. And then that way, you know, we can complete all this. And now he's got a little bit more room. It's a little bit more proportional. Okay. Penguin, good morning. Jamie McGow. Sorry, just hopped in, brother. Thank you, stupid errands. I missed the beginning, but I'll go back. Sounds good, brother. Sounds good. So yeah, so that's that. Okay, so now the leg, we'll take this one into account. Knee is a little bit too wide and too misshapen. It's a little bit too rectangular. When it, think of it more as like a medieval shield, right? Or a badge, like a police badge or something like that, right? So it should be wider at the top and then come together at the bottom, right? And then for this type of guy, I would have your patella ligament here ending at the bottom of your patella and attaching to your kneeling bone. All right. Next, I would have your tensor fascia latae here. And probably what we need to do is get your gluteus medius here. You get your gluteus medius right there. Have it end right at the posterior iliac spine. And then we can dig this down because you need a little bit more space there. Right. A little bit more for that. Okay, so then we have the tensor fascia latae, which is attaching to the iliotibial tract. We've got the great trochanter here, or your hip dip, whatever you want to call it. And then your vastus lateralis is originating from there. So we've got to have this, kind of think of this as NASCAR, right? So here's your great trochanter, and you're just going to, and then you're going to even it out, okay? Just going to have a nice little hoop, nice little mound, a happy mound right around there, okay? And then your tensor fascia latae kind of disappearing up in there, okay? Your rectus femoris is looking good. It's just going into your anterior superior iliac spine. It needs to go to your anterior inferior iliac spine, right? So it's a little bit lower than the top of the hip, right? It's underneath it. So if we take a look at the skeleton, so here's your anterior superior, and then you're going to have your anterior inferior, and this is where it's attaching, okay? All right, let's blow our brains with some dubstep. All right. Alrighty. So, okay, so your patella, again, it's you need to have this, you have your ligament on bottom, and then you have your tendon up top. So this is going to kiss the very tip of the edge of your patella, and then it's going to go back, okay? So we need a little bit more space for our rectus femoris and a little bit less for our vastus medialis, which is this little teardrop on the side here. Okay, so we're going down. that. Get that. Going down, going around. And let wrap around, right? Right there. Next, you do have your sartorius hinted at, but it's not really ending anywhere. You just got this form on the side, okay? So it's originating from your anterior superior iliac spine, and it's pretty much latching all this down. So it should be behind these muscles, and it should be attaching underneath your epicondyle of your humerus, or your of your femur, right? The epicondyle, your medial epicondyle of your femur, and then the head of your tibialis, and then this is going to go underneath and attach more on your tibialis than anything. Okay, and then bust up, blacken the herb. All right, so we need to get that going. The sartorius comes into play whenever you're playing hacky sack. So whenever you're, if your leg's like this and you want to bring your foot, you want to adduct your foot, bring it towards center, and you want to roll it, or you put your foot on top of your knee, that's whenever you're using your sartorius to do that. Yeah. So if you're turning your leg in to look at the inside of your leg, or you're playing hacky sack, you know, with your feet or whatever, that's a muscle that's contributing to that. Okay. Alrighty. So I think it's roughed in a little bit better. Let's talk about the adductors, right? So everything has to deal with bringing your leg towards center. Right, so what you're sitting on right now is not your ass, right? What you're sitting on are two bones called your, let's see here, your sitting bones. So this is what you're actually sitting on right now, okay? And so this is where those adductors are originating and ending, all along this line right here, okay? So whenever we look at this, we kind of need to treat this kind of like a triangle, right? So, you know, let's imagine that line, and so it's got an origination and an insertion. So we need to kind of treat it a little bit more as its own shape and a little bit more confident, you know? And then it's going up here. So we've got the two heads right here. We've got our our patella needs to be a little bit, imagine like a rectangle coming off of this. So it's not just going to be this scritchy, scratchy thing. It's going to have a little bit more form. It's going to have a top. It's going to have a side. Right here. I'm talking about the tendon. Right there. Okay. Then you're going to have fat on each side of the knee, so you can make this as random as you can. Okay, fat on each side. And then this muscle that you're trying to get here is two things. One is your hamstrings need to end at the head of the fibula, which is right here. Okay, so you can feel that on the side. It's a little, this little bone that's on the that's a little bit, it's below your knee to the right on the side of your tibialis, okay, on the lateral side. All right, and then okay, all right, chill out. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna have this origination here, and we're gonna have a muscle coming off of that. Right, so this is, I think this is the brevis, longest brevis, I think. Brevis longus, something. And this is going to go down and around your malleolus or your ankle, right? So it's going to go around. It's going to expose this bone, right? Your tibia, right there. And it's going to go around it. And it's going to go around and attach to the side, right there. Okay. So the next muscle that makes up your the front of your calf is going to sit right underneath your tibia, and it's going to be right there. So let's take a look at that. So you see this little pocket right here in between the head of the fibula and the head of the tibia. This little pocket right here is where this anterior tibialis is originating from, right? So this right here is coming over. It's originating right underneath there, and it's going over your shin and then attaching to the side of your foot right here underneath. Okay. And what the hell? For some reason, it's registering that the pin is down when it's not even close. I'm not sure. All right, so we've got the head of our tibia here, and what we need to do is we need to follow that down into our malleolus, right? Our medial malleolus right here. Medial meaning that it's on the inside, lateral meaning it's on the outside. Okay, so most of the bulk is going to be up here as we go around. Okay, so your calves are looking good. We need a little bit more flat right here. We're gonna have the epicondyle of the humerus on each side, so we need a little bit more space right there. And this one is usually up. This one's a little bit longer, so you got it a little reversed. Okay? But that's just in general. That's what happens. I'm not saying everybody's calf is like that. All right, so now we need our gastrocnemius or our calf, which is going to originate from the epicondyles of our femur, right? So our gastrocnemius, we have one head originating from the medial head of the femur, and then we have one originating from the lateral. Okay, and then we're gonna have a common tendon coming off, common tendon, and then everything's feeding into that tendon. All right, so boom, and so we need a little bit more form here because it's suddenly losing mass right there. Okay, so a little bit like that, and just all this is feeding into that little tendon, right? So again, you're just getting that and feeding all this muscle into that little tendon. Okay, and so you're gonna have a little space here. You're gonna have fat and skin and your artery right there as well. Your hamstrings, your biceps femoris, semitendinosus, membranosus is so your the medial side of your hamstring, your semitendinosus membranosus right here is also attaching right here. So that's the reason that we have such a form change right here, is because we have our sartorius, we have our adductors, and we have our semitendinosus membranosus all converging right here and wrapping around and attaching to various points of our tibia. Okay. Oh, go ahead and lurk. That's what I do on your stream, IR. I just say, hey, what's up? And then I just sit there and I'm like, God, dude, this guy's so nice. Like, how did you become nice, IR? Like, that nice? Were you like really, really mean whenever you were young? And then you know, saw a tragedy or something. You're like, you know what? I'm going to be nice from now on. I'm going to be the nicest person in the world. All right, so now we have our biceps femoris here. We're gonna have this common tendon going down here. And then it's going to attach to the head of your fibula right here, right? So another reason to know where this is. Okay. And then you're going to have your calf, right? So your gastrocnemius. Boom, boom, right? Right there. And then you're going to have your sartorius. And so that's going to come down, and that's another muscle that's going to attach to your Achilles heel and all of this right there. So we're going to end that, and then we're going to finish it off with the soleus right here. So it's kind of like your tricep, right? I always liken the calf to the tricep and the forearm. It's kind of like both of them put together, right? All right, so then we've got our tibia. We need to fix that. So our tibia is right here, and it's going to curve and end at the intermollialis, right? So right there, and it's going to curve. And so this right here, remember we've got our anterior tibialis going this way. And then you're going to have another set going this way. There's a bunch of little small muscles I haven't memorized yet, so forgive me. There's a bunch of small muscles in here. And then the roof of your foot is going to kind of come out from there. So it's kind of like your rectus femoris, right? Sartorius on one side, tensor fascia latae, and then your rectus femoris comes out, right? And then let's get this fibularis longus and brevis back. It kind of lost its shape a little bit. So that's what I would do to kind of bring this together a little bit more. Here it's really still kind of whack, but we've been on this for an hour and 20 minutes. So and I appreciate everybody here sticking by with the with this. And you know, if you want yours to be critiqued, you need to join the ZBHO Dojo. All right, you need to join the ZBHO Dojo. Okay. Alrighty. We have a section in here called critique submissions, and you can just submit it here. It's best if you submit a ZTL, and then you can do that. Okay. Ooh. Yeah, Steven Anderson, the nicest MFer, IR sculpts, should probably get a belt for that too. Spicer, how far along is the development of your comic? When can we expect the final? Did you create your own superhero? Let me show you what I did. Okay. First thing I did is I blocked out, I'm gonna have 49 comics in total, 7 comics, 7 volumes, and I've got all the volumes blocked out. Boom. Next, I have volume 1 of the 7 volumes blocked out. Busted. All right. Then I have, let me go into my Google Docs. All right. Then I also have book 1 of volume 1 blocked out and most of the script of the intro done. What do you got? What do you got? Pissing me off. Pissing me off. That's all I gotta say. All right. So, yeah. that's what I would do to kind of bring this together. And yeah, just a few things here and there. After you fix all this stuff, you can send it back, and then I'll take another look at it. But yeah, this is just really quickly. I would spend days and days and days on this. All right. Hell yeah. What's up, hairy mandibles? Yeah, so I have all my characters in my head. I just need to start sculpting them out. I started drawing them whenever I'm not writing, and just exploring things. There's something that, for me, it's got to flow out. You know what I'm saying? It's got to flow out. Like, even when I'm writing, like, if it just doesn't flow from my head, then I don't write it down. Because I feel like if it, for me personally, if it doesn't flow when it's coming out, then it's contrived, or it's not going to feel natural to me. So I'll write a bunch of ideas down and see if it goes anywhere, and if it doesn't, then I just keep writing other different things. Looking forward to the comic. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Yeah, me and a couple friends, we have a writing group, and we meet on Wednesdays and kind of go over the beats of the story, make sure it makes sense, make sure we're not losing anybody. And we have tangible steps that we go for every week. So originally the first week was to block everything out, you know, all the volumes, the overall arc. And then the next was to get volume 1. And now this one is, you know, book 1 of volume 1. And so hopefully I'll have that done by Wednesday. But yeah, all the characters are ready to go. They are ready to go. Because I know most of us have a character in their head that, you know, that you wanted to make it a comic book or a story or whatever it's going to be. And, you know, you've probably been subconsciously developing it, or just having, you know, certain directions you want to go. I mean, what else are you doing? You know, what else are you doing? What else are you doing? You better get on it. You better get on it. You better get on it. Speaking of comics, Spicer, you inspired me last week. I'm gonna start sculpting my comic characters as soon as I finish my beetle. Nice. I like how you finish your projects. Everybody knows here, I always finish 100% of my projects. Oh, Comics Legend, when you successfully publish, you can teach how to create a comics course using ZBrush. Oh yeah, I probably will. Launch it on Indiegogo. Oh yeah. We're gonna launch it everywhere. Everywhere. Yeah. But yeah, the plan is to release, you know, like maybe the first book, just release panel by panel on Instagram. Kind of get a following there, and then put it up on was it Webtoons, and then gauge interest, see how people are reacting, and then start selling physical copies after that. But that's the goal. Harry Mandibles is gonna help me out on that on that lettering. Appreciate you, brother. Yeah, we're gonna have ZBHO Dojo comics. And then that's just because the first step, and then after that, world domination. Peng Wang, is this helping students modify their homework? What? What do you mean? Alrighty. Okay, so... yeah. So we'll be working on this character. I'm thinking about bringing her into the world of the comic book. We will see. We will see. I like her attitude. I like how she looks like someone who's dangerous to love, which is always nice. It's always a nice snake to capture your eye. Alrighty, so let's get this tricep. Let's get this. Flatten that. Right, because we got that common extensor tendon coming off of the scapula here, and then the teres major and the lat wrapping around. Okay, and then ending into the armpit. All right, so we're not going to have this separation here. If anything, this is going to be inflated together, just because skin, muscle is all converging in this one spot. There you go. Hairy mandibles got my back. But yeah, it's going to be funny. Like the whole point of the comic. Like right now, I'm just kind of writing. I just want the world to be exposed to you within the first like 5 pages, meaning like what to expect. It's going to be silly. It's not going to take itself too seriously, but there's still going to be emotional hits as well, you know? So that's what this whole initial comic is about. Hitting all those beats and being like, oh, it's kind of funny and kind of silly. Oh, it's getting kind of a little bit serious. Oh man, this is really kind of you know, suspenseful. You know, I kind of want to bring you through all those. Oh, Peng Wang. No, this is my own. This is my own. This is a little Demon Slayer chick. I gotta fix this arm. It's really just ruining this sculpt. It's too straight. It's not making a lot of sense. And the shoulders are too far back. So there's a lot of things I gotta fix about this, but I'm just gonna be blocking in anatomy because we only have a little bit more time left before Pixologic Tsuki comes in. So make sure to stick around. Make sure to stick around. We're gonna have another streamer right after me, about 30 minutes. So make sure to watch them as well. I think it is Pixologic Tsuki. But yeah, there's so many great artists on this channel. So many. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous how much talent is here. Maker JP, bedtime for me. Good education. Thanks, brother. Frederick, my son nueve. What's the Discord called? It's called ZBHO Dojo. I'll give you another link. There it is. You can join right there. Every Monday we have Sculpt Off. It's 3 hours. This was this week's submissions from all the Dojo warriors. We've been doing it for, see, how long have we been doing this? We kind of spontaneously wanted to do this. I don't like to plan a lot of things when it comes to communities. I want it to be very, very, very organic. Let's see, we're almost to the top. Maybe. almost there. Yeah. Yep. All right. So we've been doing this since November. Wow. We've been doing that since November. But yeah, every Monday we have a different theme. Sometimes we have a certain piece of concept art that we all do, just so we can see the different interpretations of it. So let's get to one of those. We have Thundercats. That was when Brendan Krause used to hang out with us, but not anymore, you know. He's too cool. He's too cool for us now. And then the nippleless He-Man. You gotta have that. I'm trying to find. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see. Where is it? Oh yeah, so this is this is a piece where we all did the same concept art. And I really like these. These are my favorite. These where we have all these different interpretations of it. Those are really, really fun. So yeah, make sure to join Christopher, Interimo, Upas, Darius, FM, and Guegas. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Warhammer 40K. No, we're gonna have a good one. We're gonna have a good one this week. I thought of it like, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Darius Shimarani, thank you, and Pixologic. Are you allowed to speculate on the update for the ZBrush 2021.6? I have no idea what it is. No clue what it is. No clue what they're doing. Kamara, so glad I found the dojo. The sculpt offs are so fun. Frederick, great. Thanks. Love your work. You're very entertaining as well as instructive. Keep it up. Thank you very much for it. Yeah, it's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one. And so this is a little bit too level. I kind of want to get it a little bit more curvy. And this pose of the arm is always very difficult for me. I did on that Thor. It took me like 5 months to get that Thor arm like correct. I was sculpting on that thing until I was just sick of it. And there's still things I would change about it. So we'll see what we can do here. But it is coming along a whole lot easier now that I've already done it. That's one thing, you know, you got to get your experience in because, no, you can't just study. You need to experience things as well. So, you know, now that I've experienced sculpting an arm in such a difficult position or unusual position, it's much easier for me to kind of block it out now. So, yeah, make sure you get in. Make sure you get all the sculpting experience that you can. One thing I wish I did more was hard surface work, but and then when I see hard surface, I'm just like, ugh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. If I could sculpt naked people all day, that would be great. Alrighty. So I think that's pretty good. Alrighty. Yeah, I just don't like the inside of that arm. Oh yeah. This is gonna be a good one. The sound it makes when a trombite goes over. Just lengthening this lat and shortening this oblique a little bit. You know what I want right now? I want some nachos. I want some delicious, cheesy, hot, gooey, crunchy, fatty, spicy, limey nachos with crunchy, fresh veggies. Yum, 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 yum. All right, we're gonna polish by features. So you see how that's all wobbly on there on the back? So instead of going in here and correcting that, I'm using polish by features, which smooths out, groups, edges, yeah. And I think one more feature, but I can't think of it right now. But yeah, and so we can get that a little bit smoother. And then now we can kind of, let's get, insert an edge right in here. And then hold W, hold Alt, and then go along with the normal or the vertex. Right there. And then hold Control and Shift, and then it's going to duplicate it. And then we're gonna rotate it. And then, you know, everybody's gotta have belts, you know. All heroes gotta have multiple belts. Everybody knows this. It's a staple. It's written in the Bible of Marvel and DC and World of Warcraft and pretty much everything. Alrighty, so now I gotta have straps on straps on straps. Straps for straps. Straps for days. Alrighty. Alright, so if you haven't seen this before, I'm gonna add some trim to this without sculpting it. So I'm gonna go to curve functions. I'm gonna go frame mesh. And I'm just gonna have polygroups on. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press BC curve tube. I'm gonna get an appropriate brush size around 5 or 3, somewhere around there. And then boom, now I've got trim on there, right? So now let's go with this color. All right, so now you got easy trim. So again, stroke, making sure polygroups or border or creased edges or all of them, it's up to you. Frame mesh, and click somewhere else to apply it. And there you go. Now you've got trim real easily. All right, let's turn off color info so we can see this a little bit more. Stroke, frame mesh, click. That's on the inside. One on the outside. Click again to commit it. Stroke, frame mesh. Boom. Right there. Click. Okay. And then now we've got this, and it's got an extra level of detail on there for free, right? Didn't, you know, really cost us any time or anything like that. So that'll catch the light a little bit more, and I don't think I want to have it so dark. All right. So you can do that quite easily. Belts and pouches. Belts and pouches, belts and pouches. Belts and pouches, belts and pouches. Belts and pouches, belts and pouches. Hey Spicer, happy TGIF. How's it going? It's going good. Quick Synth, thanks for being here. Blue Snow, 1974. Hello. I have a question. Do you really have to know how to draw in order to be good at ZBrush 3ds Max? I don't draw well, but I'm interested in using 3ds Max. I have a degree in architecture, and I wanted to explore architectural visualization, but to be honest, I'm afraid. Well, Blue Snow 1974, I'm assuming that's the year you were born. Don't be afraid. There's always Control Z. Okay? There's always Control Z. I would say, no, you do not need to know how to draw to do 3D, but it does translate. If you do have 2D skills, you just get off the ground sooner. You know what I'm saying? Blue Snow is fine. Look, I call people all types of names on here, okay? This is my show! This is my show! Alrighty, and there's something wrong with this arm, but we'll figure it out as we go, as we go, as we go. Bust it. Let's turn off all paint information. Yes, I updated this guy. I think he looks a whole lot cooler. He looked pretty stupid last time, very nondescript. But yeah, he looks a whole lot better. Alrighty, so let's fix the profiles of this leg, or refine them a little bit more. Quick Synth. Hey Spicer, what would be the best way approaching at sculpting a corduroy pattern that follows the clothing direction? Ooh. I would get it, UV it, send it out to Substance Painter, get the normal map and the height map, take that back into ZBrush, and then apply it. Dexter, doing good. What about you, brother? Alrighty, so we need to end this this hamstring a little bit sooner, probably right around there.
Yeah, go ahead and ask away. Ask away, brother. Ask away.
so we're gonna follow the rectus femoris, the sartorius, all the way over here. All the stuff that we did on Batman Pop Art's work. And we're gonna have our adductor here separate. We're gonna have our semimembranosus tendinosus. We're gonna have our adductor attached to our sitting bones, melding with our sartorius. So who's gonna bring me nachos, man? Who's bringing me nachos? Who's a volunteer? Who's getting Sensei nachos? Alrighty, so then we're gonna have the rectus femoris. Rectus meaning going up and down on the femoris. Rectus femoris. Attaching to the tibia, or I'm sorry, the not the tibia, the patella. Yeah, send it over from Jersey, Kamara. Let's go. Double time it. Oh yeah, Quicks. Hopefully it works out for you. Hopefully it works out for you. Whenever it comes to that texture stuff, I mean, you can do it with micro mesh probably. You probably do it that way too, but I think it would be easier as a texture that you transfer into detail and geometry. So yeah. Whenever I have patterns or anything, I don't usually accomplish those in ZBrush. I usually use Substance Painter to do that. Just because they already have such a huge, wide array of patterns that are very believable. And doing that actually adds to your final render. Because you've got the normal map, height map, and the geometry, so it's just nice and clean. How do you send to Painter from ZBrush? You export a height map and a texture map, and you import it into your texture map, the height map. You import it into here, then you go to your displacement and you import it into there, and then you adjust the intensity, and then you press apply displacement map. If you took my course, you'd know. If you took my course, you'd know. All right, explain it all in the course. Explain it all in the course. You want to say hi? Yeah, eat your babies. What are you doing? You're so cute. I love you, baby. All right. By the way, XP Pen, Deco Pro, or Wacom into us. Which one is best for me? Whichever one you can afford. Whichever, it literally doesn't matter. It's like, you know, you give a shitty guitar to a master guitarist and it's still gonna sound good. You know, you're not going to impede your progress so much by choosing one or the other. Just choose whichever one you can afford. Quick Synth, by the way, what do you think about Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey as Joel and Ellie for The Last of Us? I never got into The Last of Us, so I mean, I assume that's a good casting. I'm not sure. I have no idea. I figured they were going to use a voice actress. Isn't she an actress? I guess she's not doing those roles anymore, so. What tablet do I use? I use Intuos Pro 5. Touch. I think they're out of production. They got their new Intuoses now. So I was trying to find a new pen, and they don't sell them anymore for my Intuos.
Harry Menibbles, what about a 3D print pen? Is that compatible? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm gonna have to buy a new Intuos too, because I went to their store and it wasn't there. Like the old Intuos 5 is not there. Their new Intuos is out, and I think that's one that they're pushing. So, which kind of sucks, because if I break my pen, I shouldn't have to get a whole new setup just because I break my pen. I don't know. But hey, you know, they gotta do business. They gotta do business. And just flattening this out, it was getting a little bit too bulby. I want to have a little bit more of an angle there. And then here on the top of the leg, I want it to come out more at the very top than at the bottom. All right, so coming from the inferior should have that peak right around here. And then your tibia should have a slight curve to it, ending in your malleolus. Right, so I think that leg looks a little bit better. The adductors need a little bit more work. So just one more angle, boom, boom, right? Alrighty, everybody. I hope you had a good time on the stream. But before you go, you better not go anywhere. Because you got to give your thanks and praise in the Scott E. Ayton Templar. Well, we had a nice, good critique session today. I had a good time. I know you had a good time, because I had a good time. All right. And we are going to be back next week at the same time, Friday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Okay. We're going to be working on this Demon Huntress until she's finished. Then we're going to add her to the printing. And then we're probably going to go back a few sculpts and start preparing things for print. And then hopefully when I come back the next week, we can see it all printed out. Okay. So that's kind of like where the stream is going to be going. I also know I need to stream on my own channel way more, because I haven't streamed in there in like a couple months, but definitely go to shotgunscream.com. Pick yourself up a Dojo shirt. Keep the doors open in the dojo. I mean, look at all this lighting that I got to pay for, right? There's fires over there. I got to get oil for that. I got to get wood for that. I got to have someone to light it and maintain it, okay? I mean, this podium was not... I mean, it's made out of Jerusalem steel. So I gotta pay for this. So y'all gotta start giving me millions of dollars. I mean, come on. All right. But we will be back next week. We're gonna start streaming. Definitely, we're gonna start getting some more people from the dojo. We're gonna do a group stream. Kamara, IR, Batman, Carbon, a bunch of other people. So we've got over 300 billion people watching the stream right now. All different sculpting methods, all different levels of anatomy knowledge, but we are all one.